Madam President, I'm pleased that the Senate is finally debating S-1 after 3 inexplicable Democrat attempts to filibuster the bill. This package of Middle East policy bills, all of which have bipartisan support, address a number of key issues. For starters, this legislation will further strengthen our relationship with our closest ally in the Middle East, Israel. It authorizes 10 years of military support funding to Israel. And it reaffirms the United States' commitment to ensuring that Israel has better weapons and equipment than its enemies. It will also foster increased technological cooperation between Israel and the United States to support the security of both of our countries. The legislation also strengthens our relationship with another close ally of ours in the Middle East, the Kingdom of Jordan. A Senate Intelligence Committee hearing on Tuesday was a timely reminder of the importance of investing in our alliances. As senior intelligence officials testified, China and Russia are becoming increasingly aggressive in seeking to increase their influence, not just in their own regions, but in other parts of the world. Russia's support of the Syrian regime is a prime example. Now more than ever, it is vital that we maintain close relationships with our allies. The legislation before us today also contains the Caesar Syria Civilian Protection Act. This legislation will help hold accountable individuals who have supported the atrocities of the Assad regime. And it directs the Treasury Department to investigate whether the Central Bank of Syria launders money for the Syrian government. Madam President, the conflict in Syria has claimed hundreds of thousands of lives and driven literally millions of Syrians from their country. While the United States cannot solve every conflict around the world, it is vital that we make it very clear that the United States will not tolerate those who have contributed to the brutality of Bashar al-Assad's government. Finally, the legislation that we're considering today will protect the right of state and local governments to decline to do business with entities that have chosen to boycott Israel. As I said, all of the bills in the legislation before us today have bipartisan support, and I hope the Senate will pass this legislation with a strong bipartisan majority. Madam President, I'd also like to take a few words just to talk about an amendment that the leader has proposed. As I noted, this week our intelligence community leaders gave a frank assessment of the threats that we face to our national security and to our interests, from ISIS and al-Qaeda to the danger posed by a growing alignment between Russia and China to Iran's destabilizing activities in the Middle East. As intelligence officials made clear, the U.S. faces numerous persistent threats, and we should be wary of letting our guard down or becoming complacent about our strength. For that reason, I would like to state my support for Leader McConnell's amendment to express the sense of the Senate that we should be cautious about any premature withdrawal of our troops from Syria and Afghanistan. We don't have to look back very far for a reminder that prematurely withdrawing our troops can create a power vacuum that terrorists and others will step in to fill. Our too hasty withdrawal from Iraq on a timeline that we announced to our enemies created the circumstances that allowed for the rise of ISIS. We need to be wary about allowing something like that to happen again. And terrorist groups are not the only entities that we have to worry about. Adversaries like Russia and Iran are already trying to flex their power in the Middle East and would be more than happy to take advantage of an early U.S. withdrawal to strengthen their foothold in the region. While I understand and respect President Trump's desire to bring our troops home and to end these protracted wars, we must do so in a way that ensures enduring stability and protects our interests and those of our allies. The Leader's Amendment is an important reminder of the need for caution and reflection as we consider troop withdrawals. And it would reassure our allies that the United States does not intend to abruptly leave them in the midst of the battle. I hope all my colleagues will support the Leader's Amendment when we vote on it later this afternoon.
Thank you very much, Mr. President.